Hey.
I'm listening. Hey, let me ask you something.
Can we talk later?
Later, yeah, we can do this later.
The Marty Bullfinch case. Marty was Nick's partner. Emphasis on the was. He must have been some kind of desperate to come to us for help after all this time.
Well, Marty and I never exactly saw eye to eye. Mostly because he was usually passed out on the barroom floor.
Aw, come on, Nick. Think of the good times.
What, when he quit?
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
We don't make money.
Nicky, you old bucket of bolts, it's Marty. I know it's been a while, but I came across a little mystery I thought might get your circuits firing. You remember that ugly grasshopper statue on top of Faneuil Hall? Turns out it's got a note in it. A note written by the son of one, Shem Drown. I don't expect that name means anything to you, but the guy was a coppersmith. Way back when folks did shit like that. Apparently, this note leads straight to the old guy's stash. I don't know what's in it, but I'd sure like to know if it's still there. I'm gonna go do a little recon on the hall. If you decide you want to get the team back together, you let me know.
We should head over to the Nakano residence when we can. Find out what their case is about.
You keep that synth freak at arm's length. You understand me?
Got our eyes on you, even if you are palling around with Nick Valentine. Got a reason for bothering me? Get lost.
No one knew Earl better than these folks. Ought to ask around, see what people know.
Ah, it is the savior of Diamond City Radio. Have a drink, friend.
Earl Sterling used to work here, right?
Poor Earl. Gone just like that. Such a good bartender. Good friend. Oh, terrible with women, mind you. Bull in china shop with them. You with Valentine's Detective Agency? I forgot to drop off Earl's key when I hired you people. Here, I hope you find out what happened. Security does nothing but yell at me for asking about it. Anyway, you look like you need a drink.
You staying out of trouble?
You are checking up on me? I love it. Do not worry. I have cut ties with anyone who might try to kill me over debts. All is well, friend. Relax.
Not interested.
Ah, come on.
Nice pit boy. You look a little roughed up. Should talk to Doc Crocker over at the Mega Surgery Center.
You start in here. Why don't you check out the living room? Must be some hint where that boy ran off to. You know, for all the talk, I'd put the chances of this being an Institute snatch job somewhere between 0 and none. Just think about it. Earl Sterling, local assistant bartender? Why not nab the bartender himself? Lord knows Vadim samples his own wares enough that some weird behavior wouldn't make anyone bat an eyelash. Might score the Institute some points in the last person you'd ever suspect category. But why not snatch someone with charm? Someone who could get you what you want. Earl could barely get you a drink by closing on a busy night. Well, where's that leave us? No known enemies. Wasn't much for the great outdoors, so likely not raiders or mutants. No, this all screams accident. Now, what was Earl into that might have gotten him in this kind of trouble? Hey, let me ask you something.
Sure, ask away.
It's just, with everything that's happened with you and your family, it's a whole hell of a lot to process. I wanted to make sure you're holding up all right.
I don't know, Nick. My family's in tatters. I've been dropped into this place where everything's trying to kill me. You tell me.
Well, I'd expect you to feel lost, scared, and mad as hell. I sure did. Took me a long damn time to get a feel for this place. Thank goodness I found Diamond City. It's got its flaws, sure, but it beats the hell out of anywhere else in the Commonwealth. Of course, when I took up there back when, people were just as scared of the Institute as they are now. Maybe more. The massacre of the CPG was still pretty fresh in people's minds at that point, and folks were still losing sleep over the broken mask. Plenty of people assumed I was just a saboteur, moving in to melt down the reactor or poison the drinking water. But at the time, they couldn't exactly turn me away.
Massacre of the CPG? What's that?
The Commonwealth Provisional Government. Years back, a group of settlements tried to get together and form a coalition. Every settlement with even a hint of clout sent representatives to try and hash out an agreement. Only the Institute sent a representative of their own, a synth. The man killed every rep at the talks. The Commonwealth Provisional Government was over before it even got off the ground. I took up in town not long after. I was damn lucky they didn't just tell me to scram right then and there.
Broken mask?
This was long before I'd moved to town, but apparently some gentleman type shows up in Diamond City, heads down to Power Noodles, Guess he didn't like the food because he pulled his pistol and opened fire on the folks enjoying theirs. When security finally put enough holes in him to drop him, they say he was full of servos and sprockets, just like yours truly. Seems he malfunctioned, went berserk. It was the first time people realized that synths had stopped looking like me and started looking like them. Considering what these folks went through, I felt real lucky they let me in the front gate at all.
Why'd they let you in?
Because I'd rescued the mayor's daughter, gal of about 15. Pride and joy of the mayor back then. Man by the name of Henry Roberts. The young Miss Roberts decided she'd run off with some caravan hand she'd, known for an evening. Turns out the guy was part of a gang of kidnappers. I didn't even know who I was rescuing, just stumbled on a crying girl and 4 toughs. I took her home and the mayor dubbed me a hero, offered me a place in town. Lots of folks protested, said I was a spy, but he wouldn't have it. Taking up in the city was tricky at first, but I never tried to hide what I was, and people seemed to warm to that.
You took down 4 guys by yourself?
I didn't have to. Back then, synths were even more of an unknown quantity than they are today. I told them I was rigged to explode and started going beep, beep, beep. Hardest part of that rescue was keeping from laughing as they climbed over each other to get away.
Was it hard settling in?
Yeah, they sure didn't make it easy. I started off doing the jobs no one else wanted. I got more banged up being Diamond City's handyman than I ever did living out in the ruins. But I guess folks never forgot I rescued the mayor's daughter, so they started coming to me when people went missing. Wife runs off with a new paramour and takes the rent money with her. Talk to the synth. An upset father decides moving him and the kids to Good Neighbor in the dead of night's not the worst damn idea since the bomb. Go get Nick. After a while, the jobs got so backed up, they didn't even ask me to do the handyman stuff anymore. Hell, I was so happy to do it, it was months before I started charging anyone. I never stopped being Nick the synth, but it was Nick the detective folks came to see. It was about then that things finally started feeling normal. It took me a long time to realize that home is where you make it. And with some time and effort, this place can be home for you, too. That's a long story, but I hope it helps. Want to get moving? I think we ought to talk.
What's wrong?
Wrong? Oh no, nothing's wrong. We've just been traveling a while now, and I figure there hasn't exactly been equitable district. I've gotten a decent glimpse into your dirty laundry, but you still don't really know a whole heck of a lot about me. I figured I'd offer to balance the board. So, is there anything you want to know?
What do you remember about the Institute?
It's all pretty hazy from back then, but now and then I get glimpses. Life inside the Institute, they keep you isolated. A single test chamber was my whole world for years, and someone was always watching. Then one day you wake up on the other side, and that's it. They've cut you loose. Welcome to the brave new world, with such people in it.
What's with the outfit?
After I started the agency, it just seemed like the sort of thing a detective ought to wear. I got some old memories, pre-war. Faded to all heck of guys dressed like this, doing what I do. Putting on the hat and trench coat, I figured it'd let folks know I was serious about the whole thing. Clothes make the man and all that. Guess I felt they made me the man I wanted to be.
So who are you, Nick?
That's a question I've been trying to figure out myself for a long damn time. I know I'm a synth, authentic Institute handiwork, but I'm still mechanical, not bioengineered like the fancy synths giving everyone the willies these days. I get tune-ups now instead of checkups. But my memories, my personality, they're all lifted from some cop who volunteered for an experiment back before the war. They scanned his brain and copied it onto the hardware that runs between my ears. Don't know why they chose to make a robot based on some pre-war cop instead of a math genius or a bioengineer. Hey, maybe that's why the Institute tossed me in the garbage instead of turning me into one of their people snatchers.
Wait, the original Nick was from my time?
Sure was. Which meant when I finally ended up out here, it was quite the rude awakening. I remember waking up one day in a garbage heap, a body in tatters and a head full of memories belonging to a man who'd been dead for 200 years. Suffice to say, it was a confusing couple of weeks. Folks didn't really know much about synths back then, so when I finally ran into people, they mostly treated me with caution rather than hostility. But the kids, they weren't afraid. I think his name was Jim. The first person to actually speak to me after I got the boot from the Institute. My first human contact in this world. Grilled me for an hour. Once they'd seen I wasn't going to hurt anyone, the other folks in the neighborhood came out to ogle the mechanical man. It eventually turned into a pretty swell soiree. A local mechanic even gave me a once-over, free of charge. Those people, they treated me like a human being. I've been trying to return the favor ever since. It's a surprisingly rare trait out here sometimes. It's something I've noticed you got a fondness for. Part of the reason I've stuck around this long.
Where's that town? We should go visit.
I tried to go back and say thanks once I'd gotten myself established, but the place was wiped off the map. Raiders. Don't know what happened to the people.
If you're good to people, they'll be good back. That's something I've always believed.
Couldn't agree more. Well, I expect you're about as bored as can be listening to me rattle my skeletons. We should probably head out.
Hey,
Something to get off your chest?
your thoughts?
It's good to see there's someone out here who's not...
That was all I had.
Sure, sure. You building a collection or something?
Doctor?
Let's get you examined right away. Time is not on the side of the surgeon.
Do you know anything about this receipt?
Let me see. This is Dr. Crocker's deplorable handwriting, all right. Looks like Earl Sterling was one of his patients. The procedure noted here is mundane. Low-risk cosmetic work. Dr. Crocker never performed it, however. Said Earl vanished before he paid. Now, let's get back to talking about your medical needs.
Where is Doc Crocker?
The last time I saw him, he had to get something out of the surgery cellar. Probably just had to wash some needles or move some storage around. Anyway, we should get back to your immediate medical requirements.
There's an awful lot of blood leading into the surgery center basement. Should try and find a way down there.
Cares about...
How's it going? Yeah?
Hey, Doc.
Don't dally. If you're here to be examined, let's get you examined.
Care to explain all this blood leading to the cellar?
Dr. Crocker must have tracked some fluids when he went down into the cellar. He's sometimes not as fastidious as I am between surgeries. Here, the cellar key. Go check for yourself. I'm sure you'll find there's nothing going on here besides medicine.
Oh, Earl. You've really been a handful, you know. But I think we're just about done. Our little mistake is finally going to be corrected. Oh, naughty, naughty. You're not supposed to be down here, but that's okay. I can fix that. I can fix anything.
What did you do to Earl Sterling, Doctor?
What did I do? I didn't do anything. It was Earl. It was Earl who didn't want to be happy. Good patients get a nice new face. Bad patients bleed all over the floor because they want to screw up their surgeon's life.
You've killed a man, Doctor. You're going to pay for it. Put the gun down and come with me.
Now, let's not do anything rash.
I did it, didn't I? I killed a man. Oh God. Well, there's so much blood. So much blood all over me. I can fix anything.
What's going on here? Is that Dr. Crocker? I think you owe me an explanation. What happened here?
You owe me an explanation, Doctor. Your partner was cutting Earl Sterling up into little pieces.
Cutting him up into... Why would he? Oh, wait. The facial reconstruction surgery. If he really did go through with it, and it went badly, Dr. Crocker was willing to go that far to protect his reputation?
You didn't know. It's not your fault.
Of course it's not my fault. That moron and his damn appearance over practice mentality. Now 2 lives have been lost. It's disgraceful. I better report all this to security. Get out of here. It's going to take a long time to clean this place of biohazards.
Looks like it'll be a closed casket funeral. Nick.
So, the doctor did it, huh? Feels like there's a cliche in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a cliche, all right. It's buried underneath your bad sense of humor.
You keep that kind of talk up, I might just start thinking we're friends. And talk to Ellie. She's got the caps you earned for this one. Can't blame
sound of
ourselves.
Diamond City Radio.
The man decided to die.
So, you two find out where Earl Sterling ran off to?
Earl never went anywhere. Doc Crocker killed him during a botched surgery.
Crocker killed Earl? Gone as long as he was, I figured maybe Raiders or the Institute, but Crocker? Where's the doc now? Rotting in a cell, I hope.
Crocker killed himself. He couldn't take the guilt.
Goodness. I'm sorry you two had to go through that. Here, take this. Sounds like you earned it. I'll send word along. Let everyone down at the Dugout Inn know what happened. Shame it couldn't be better news. Thanks again for closing this one out.